Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Generation X Politics, and this video is sponsored by contribution from Lena. And here's what she writes. Hi, Ollie. Quick question. My mother was a former employee at a retailer in California. She saw shoplifters come in and she went outside and took a picture of them. She was fired by the company. I don't understand this. Why does this keep happening? What is going on in our country? Please answer, as I do know you have experience with these type of situations. Thank you, Lena. Okay, Lena. I do, and this is something that I have a folder on as well. So what I have here is I have a bunch of scenarios, different theft, shoplifting scenarios that I'll go through with you guys. For those of you who don't know or may not know, and I'm sorry if you got to rehear it, I spent 19 years in retail loss prevention management. I was director of security for Macy's primarily for 14 years in Herald Square for 5 years. From 99 to 04, Jersey City, Paramus Garden State, downtown Brooklyn. Also, before I became a director, I was a special investigator with them through New Jersey, New York, Long Island regions throughout the whole store. So this was my life for 19 years, is what you're saying. First video here is, what you're seeing is, I think this must be like a Dollar General or a Walgreens or something, because they're stealing detergent out in Colorado. It says the security guard who recorded this was later fired. It wasn't a security guard. It was an employee. And you saw they covered the license plate with tinfoil. They pulled it out. Let me explain to you what happened with your mother. Okay. First, your mother's not a loss prevention associate or a security employee. So these companies have policies, and they're the right policy, because you can't just have regular employees trying to stop shoplifters. They're going to get hurt. They don't know the laws. They don't know they haven't been trained, because there's a lot of things there's things you need before you can stop a shoplifter. Typically, I mean, you see somebody running out with a cart of stuff, yeah, you could stop them. But most of these retailers, if not all of them, follow the 5 steps. Entry, you got to see the person either enter the store or enter the department or approach the counter or the rack or whatever. You got to see selection, where you see them select the merchandise. Concealment. Now, it's not always concealed. Sometimes they wear stuff out. They just grab it. They do these grab and runs that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and run out. They'll load up a cart. But basically, you got to know where the merchandise is. In most states, as soon as you conceal, that's an act of theft, and you can make the stop. Though most retailers don't want that. Continuous observation, because if you don't want to lose them at any time, because they could ditch the merchandise, and then you stop them, and then you're looking at lawsuits. Most of these rules are lawsuit prevention. And then exit before you make it. They got to leave the area, leave the store. Some states you actually have to physically leave the building, or travel up or down 2 or more floors, or enter a private space, i.e. a fitting room with concealed merchandise, i.e. a restroom, an elevator, a fitting room. Typically places you don't bring merchandise, you're not supposed to bring concealed merchandise into. So when non-security employees or non-LP loss prevention employees get involved in these type of cases, typically they're terminated, because it's in the policy. And that's to avoid lawsuits. The other thing is, whoever this is filming, because I don't think it's security, whoever this is filming is in the parking lot, and these companies have a no chase policy. Some of them have a completely hands-off policy where you're not even supposed to approach them. But they have like a no chase policy, or a 25-foot rule. You can't step off the curb, yada, yada, yada. We had it at Macy's. We didn't follow it. Why didn't we follow it? Because if you follow it, they know all they got to do is make it to the curb, and I'm out of here. Now, if you got caught doing that, you'd end up getting fired. And by caught, meaning you chased somebody and they didn't have it, or something went bad. Like in what store was it? I think it was Tom's River, New Jersey. They had a chase. They ran across the highway, and the kid got killed. Okay, and it wasn't even a chase. What they did, because they ran. Two of them stepped off the curb, and they kept off running through the parking lot. They made it all the way out to 1 and 9 and got hit. And because technically he stepped off the curb, they ended up firing the two guys, which was stupid. Now, if they were able to run him down and tackle him before he made it, and then called the cops and arrested him, it would have been fine. I know it doesn't sound right, but that's how it worked, at least in New Jersey, New York, back then. And I mean, we're going back now, like 20 years, I guess, at this point. But that's why your mother was terminated, because she's not an LP security associate. She's probably not supposed to be getting involved in that type of stuff, or she stepped off I don't necessarily agree with firing the person, but they shouldn't, because they're putting themselves in danger, because you don't know if these people are armed. You don't know what they have. You don't know what's waiting for you outside. Security, you're scanning, you're looking on the cameras, you're working with other people, you're seeing who's waiting for you outside. And even with all that, you could still get blindsided and hurt. I mean, we've been jumped, we've been attacked. We had a guy shot 6 times in Atlanta at point blank range, stopping a shoplifter. So I mean, and it sucks for your mom, and because California is just completely out of hand. I mean, so what are you supposed to do here? And I'll get into that with the. So now we're out here, and this is actually in California. These people in California are robbing in a free-for-all because of this law. Proposition 47 changed the law so that theft of $950 and below is a misdemeanor. In reality, nobody is prosecuted if caught. This has created a free-for-all in California with no consequences. Let me explain this. That sounds like it's a problem, that Proposition 47. It's not. Why? Because every one of these people has over $1,000, well over $1,000 worth of goods. This is Gucci, Bloomingdale's. These are major retailers they're running out with. Okay, 2 things equals $1,000 in these stores. That's not the issue here. That is not, it sounds good. It sounds like, oh, that's why. That's not why. Because it's a moot point. Proposition 47 doesn't apply here because all of these people have well over $1,000. This Gucci fragrance, that's $130 a box. Minimal. Probably more now. The only thing you can do here, and look, you're telling me that's under $950? No. Running out of Gucci with armloads of merchandise in Bloomingdale's, you think that's under $950? It's not. So people are still being misinformed. The only way you stop these things is in-store loss prevention. The cops can't help you. Why? Because the cops don't. Believe it or not, the cops don't understand the laws. They don't understand the theft laws. They don't understand the burglary laws, and they don't want to understand them. They don't. This is on the retailers, because I'll tell you this, these are called either hit and runs or smash and grabs. These have been happening since the beginning of stores being opened. This has been going on. This was going on in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, okay? And there were major crackdowns in the 90s when Giuliani okay, showed the way, because in the store I came from, we were doing 5,000 shoplifters a year in Herald Square when I got there. Per year. Per year. 5,000 shoplifters per year. Same people over and over and over and over again. And the only thing that would happen to them, the cops would come, we'd type them up, we process them, the cops would come and give them a desk appearance, DAT, a desk appearance ticket, and let them walk. Till Giuliani got in and said, fuck that. Then they passed the burglary law, the trespass law. So once you're caught, and now all these states have them because they followed the same model. Once you're caught shoplifting and trespassed by the store, if you come in to one of those stores again and get caught again, it is now a felony burglary charge with a minimum of 3 years. 3 to 5 years. This wiped out an entire generation of thieves in the 90s. This is one of the major factors of why, like, New York City got so, like, where did all the criminals go? Well, when you have Macy's flagship doing 5,000 shoplifters a year, you have Bloomingdale's doing $3,500 a year, you had Stearns doing another 37 to 4,000 shoplifters per year, okay? Lord and Taylor, the retailers were such a huge part of cleaning up New York in the 90s. People didn't realize it, because the cops are getting the credit for it, but the cops weren't the ones making the arrests. The retailers are the ones making the arrests with their in-house loss prevention and security. You have to have, back then we had door guards at every door. 2 to 3 guards, uniformed guards at every door. 20, even the small stores had a staff of 15 to 20 undercover store detectives. My store, we had up to, at one point, we had up to like 70 undercovers. You're not going to, and this shit has been going on forever, you're not going to catch every one of these. You can catch enough of them. All you got to do is, every person, you catch as many as you can as they're going out. And here's the nice thing about stealing from a retailer. Retailers have inventory. We knew exactly what was being stolen by what was sold and what was missing. We knew exactly what they ran out with and could identify it. So what would happen was, the ones we did catch, because they all would come in together as a group, the ones you did catch, they didn't get charged just what they were carrying, because they're acting in concert. They get charged with everything. Everything. So do you think the ones who ran out got away? Or do you think the no snitching in the hood or no snitching rules applied? Believe me, thieves snitch. Soon as they realize that they're taking the whole fucking lot of it, they're giving names, they're giving addresses, they're writing directions. I mean, this is pre-MapQuest and pre-GPS. They're giving phone numbers, relatives' names. Oh, all of them. All you got to do is catch a couple of them. You catch as many as you can. You figure out how much has been stolen, and you charge each and every one of them with that amount, which is completely legal. Oh, you see how fast they're giving up names and addresses and license plates and where to find them and start calling them. Shit, man, some of them we have them call. We could have them bring stuff back. Yeah, just bring it back to us. Just bring it back to us, and we'll let you go. We just want our stuff back. You said you'd let us go. Yeah, I lied. You can't do that. Oh, I can't? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm not a cop. I'm not a lawyer. I can lie to you. Even the cops can lie to you. The cops can't help on this. There's nothing they can do, because what does a cop know about shoplifting? They don't know, and they didn't see the crime anyway. They can't be a witness. All the cop is a vehicle to transport him down to jail and to write up the charges in most cases. Like in Herald Square, we wrote up our own charges because we were peace officers, and we were able to just process them into the system, call down to called down to Midtown South Precinct, said send the wagon. Send the wagon comes, daisy chain them on out of there, down the central booking. They stopped, they eliminated the desk appearance tickets, which means you just went, you had to go, you went to central booking, you had to pay, and you didn't get out. You were done. So no, Proposition 47 in these laws that, you know, have lowered the felony down to 950 or wherever it is are meaningless. They're meaningless because there's nothing in Gucci. You're running out with armloads of merchandise from designer retailers. They're all felony charges. So if the retailers want to say they got to just do it just to recover the merchandise, whether or not they get prosecuted or not, and you got to physically stand there and you got to fight it out with these people. Now, in 2023, being as litigious as it is, these retailers, they don't have the backbone. So they're going to point and say, oh, it's the cops, it's this proposition. And partially, if they're not getting prosecuted and they're not getting hit with the charges like they're supposed to, yeah, that hurts. But it's not because of this law. This law was passed because they don't want some politician's kid or some cop's kid or some teacher who's doing something stupid to get hit with felonies. That's why they're doing that. That's why. Because people don't realize how easy it is to rack up a felony in a department store. All it takes is a couple items. You're over the threshold. These people are running out with armloads of Gucci, Chanel, Bloomingdale's. There ain't nothing there. You ain't getting out of there under 950. You think this girl is carrying those sneakers for $300 a pop? They're carrying bags of this shit. So that's moot. So what's the next one here? Dick's Sporting Goods cites organized retail crime. Now, organized retail crime is different than... It's not different because it's still the same methods. This merchandise is being stolen to go out of the country, usually to South America, Central America. That's why when you see all these refugees jumping the border, okay, wearing designer clothes, where are they coming from? Comes from this. Comes from South American, Central American gangs, okay, called ORC, Organized Retail Theft, getting shipped out of the country. Victoria's Secret has a huge problem. They love hitting lingerie. Victoria's Secret has a huge problem. You know, lingerie was always a huge department for theft in all retailers. Sporting Goods, Dick's, it just makes sense. And again, you're not stopping this without internal security. There's the only way to stop it. It's the only way to stop it. You can't hire enough cops, okay? Because the cop is going to fuck it up anyway. Because the cop doesn't know. The cop has, because the cop has qualified immunity. So it doesn't matter if the cop stops somebody and they didn't actually do something, and they will do stupid shit like that. Like when you hire them for like an off-duty detail, if you just want to have a presence or something, you got to watch them. You got to watch them because they would do something stupid. Okay? Stop somebody for like a fucking candy bar that like, no, we don't do that. You don't do that. You don't even they do stupid stuff. And they're not the ones that get sued because, hey, they got qualified immunity. The retailer gets sued. You don't want cops around this. You don't want to see a cop, okay, until you're done processing these people and you're ready for them to come pick it up so you can go down to the precinct to sign charges. You don't want it. And again, this is another retail store. I think this is, it could be Macy's. It could be Macy's. It could be Blooming. Like, again, they're ripping this. This is all $100, $200 worth of merchandise. They're loading it up into trash bags. Do you think that's under $950? No. These are all felonies. Where's your... And the retailers, they got lax because things got better in the country. Things were pretty calm, pretty normal. People weren't acting the fool anymore. But we knew it was coming back. I always knew it was going to end up coming back because like they can't just keep doing these stupid policies. Eventually, the shitheads are going to catch on. So, I mean, that's where we're at with this, and that's my spiel. Um, so yeah, I'm real sorry about your mom, Lena, and I hope she's able to find something else um, shortly. And I know it's tough out there, but if you're working for a retailer and know their policies, okay, and you're not a loss prevention associate, do not try to get yourself involved because you could either get yourself hurt or more likely get yourself fired. And it's frustrating because there's nothing that pisses me off like a fucking thief, like the entitlement of a fucking thief. And there's nothing more satisfying than taking one of these fuckers down and then watching them squirm. Because once they realize, like, okay, like in Herald Square, it got out real quick. Like, oh, there's a new regime in there. They're fighting back. These guys aren't playing. When I got to Herald Square in 1999, it was the goddamn Wild West there. We were getting 3-4 of these a day. And it was like, that was it. We came in, and my VP who brought us in, he's like, we're going all in. They've had it. They want this fucking cleaned up once and for all. And that was it. Once they realized we were coming after them and they weren't going to strong arm their way out the building without a fight, within a year and a half, we went from like 5,000 shoplifters to under 2,000 shoplifters a year. Still a lot of shoplifters because you're never going to eliminate shoplifting. And understand, this isn't shoplifting. This is burglary. Big difference. They're using tools. They're using booster bags. Those are burglary tools. They could all be charged with those. There's a million different ways to put charges on these people that the cops don't even realize when they're typing up the charges because they're dumb. They're cops. Most of the time, they're sitting in a squad car with a radar gun trying to write bullshit tickets. They don't even want to deal with this. Till they realize it's a moneymaker for them, too, in the court system. And, Paramus was pretty good. I mean, and even Midtown South got really good. Once Giuliani was in, and New York was over it at that point, now went right back. Worse than it ever was, because not only did they stop prosecuting, they stopped even trying to catch people. So there isn't enough money you could pay me to do this job again. There isn't enough money you could pay me because you can't even do your job as a cop, let alone as loss prevention trying to fight with these people. But if the stores would all step up as one, as a coalition, and say this is what has to happen, there needs to be double to triple posted at every doors, uniform guards. And I'm talking thugs. I'm talking thumpers. I'm talking you need certified thumpers at the door, which is what we had. We had certified thumpers at the door. You ran at one of these guys, you were running into a fucking brick wall. And then there was going to be 6 or 7 undercovers on top of you, and it was then the free for all goes. I can't tell you how many showcases, case lines, glass showcases, case lines, glass tables, glass doors that have either thrown somebody through, have gone through with a shoplifter, tables that have been just all out Donnybrooks in the middle of stores. It's some of the most wild fights I've ever been in my life. Okay. I'm not going to lie, a lot of it was fun. And a lot of it on my end was fun. It's why I enjoyed doing what I did. It's why it hurt me so bad that that error is gone, because I loved doing that because it mattered and it was fun. But this isn't safe, because what this also will lead into is Not only them stealing the merchandise, they end up starting to attack the customers. They start doing snatch and grabs, start doing assaults, grabbing jewelry. We would have all of that. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse unless it's addressed. And it can't be addressed by the police. There's not enough police anyway to do this. The retailers are going to have to reinvest in their own LP. Not with me. Don't come looking for me because I ain't stupid enough to do it. Because I know even at this point, if they say, yeah, we're going to do it, the first time something gets a little sketchy, they're going to throw whoever right under the bus again. So the shoplifting epidemic it's not a new thing. It's been happening for a long, long time. I will tell you, though, one thing that is kind of new. Once this thing now where you see them trying to get out with the merchandise, that's different. Because most times once you were on them, they drop the goods and run. They weren't worried about, they're worried about getting away. Now they want to get away with the merchandise, which is just next level, which just shows just such a fucking rank entitlement. That's why I just fucking hate thieves. I can't stand it. I can't. So, let me know what you think. Thank you to Lena for the contribution and question and story. Again, I'm sorry about your mom, but I'm telling you that's why she was fired. 100%. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to follow both my channels on Rumble, Twitter, and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Generation X Politics. Take care, everyone.